Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. We are so excited to have you again. Please, if you've not subscribed to our channel, kindly hit on the red subscribe button and on also the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish our videos on YouTube. Nigerian debt profile has been increasing in geometrical progression. I can assure you that fairly recently the president had gotten the approval of both the House of Senate, as the Senate House, and also the House of Representatives to get as huge as $22.7 billion, which is causing a lot of problems, especially for the fact that no part of that fund will be expended on any developmental project in the southeast. Then apart from that, he has also gotten the approval for $5.5 billion. And many economists and prominent Nigerians have expressed reservation over the country's rising debt liability. So much persons, they have spoken about it. And if you are conversant with information about this issue of debt, the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, Senator Enaji, did say that the country's total debt would have risen to above 33 trillion naira after the Senate had approved the president's request, to take another 22.7 billion foreign loans. And this is, guess what? This is really amazing. And the Minister of Finance, it's telling Nigerians that there is no hope of the country stop borrowing. This is unthinkable, that there is no way Nigeria can stop borrowing, which means what we are going to see in the nearest future, or what the next president is going to inherit as debt that he must pay back, will be too huge to allow any form of development for Nigeria or any form of general reserve for us, because virtually all the monies he will have will be to pay debt day after day. But however, before we go into all this discussion, let's just look at what she had to say, about debt portfolio in Nigeria. And the news having that amid growing concern over Nigeria's debt profile, the Minister of Finance, Budget and Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, has said the dual reality of COVID-19 pandemic and the drop in the price of oil in the international market has made it inevitable for Nigeria to keep borrowing from external bodies. She stated that before the global health and economic challenge, Nigeria had been grappling with low revenue, noting that the crisis has put the country in a difficult situation, which has made it difficult for the government to meet some of its obligations. The minister spoke recently at a webinar organized by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Fiscal Policy Roundtable and Tax Investment and Competitive Policy Commission, and was anchored by tax expert Tr0uble, who is the fiscal policy partner and West Africa tax leader at PricewaterhouseCoopers. The minister, who was represented by the special advisor to the president on finance and economy, Mrs. Tr0uble, said government was doing its best to make sure the revenue base was broadened and expenditure reduced. She noted that if citizens also participated by paying tax and doing the right things, it will go a long way in solving the country's problem, especially the rising revenue. But Ahmed said, and I'm going to quote exactly what she said during that presentation. He said, "We have had to grapple with the low revenue even before the pandemic. We had high debt, weak infrastructure base, low human capital, and low revenue that is largely dependent on the foreign exchange and from oil. So there are many things we have loved to do that we cannot do. Due to the global economic slowdown and the revenue issues, what we are expecting is a gross domestic product that will contract in the best case scenario by about 4.4%, and is the worst case scenario, it will be about 8% or more. We are in a very difficult situation, but we are trying to manage that, because if nothing is done, up to 21 million jobs could also be affected by the impact of the pandemic. So with all these statistics, we cannot overemphasize the importance of raising revenue. She said in the address, the situation government had come up with key policy measures that government could not but borrow to accomplish. She identified them to include the 12-month economic sustainability plan to mitigate the effect of COVID-19, measures to support the private sector, which includes the implementation of Finance Act 2020, aimed at supporting medium and that's MSME and strategic industries affected by the pandemic. She added, and I quote, "We also have establishment of 86 billion naira intervention fund for health infrastructure, conversion of World Bank regional disease surveillance system enhancement program to support COVID-19 intervention in the state, accelerating infrastructural development, preparation of fiscal stimulus bill to provide legislative backing for the fiscal stimulus package that we have, deregulation of the price of refined products or petroleum products. We know how important that is given the amount of money that we spend in that area. We also have the adoption of financing plan for the power sector recovery program, incentivizing the use of up to 2 trillion naira of pension fund for roads and housing development, supporting and encouraging states to achieve state fiscal transparency and accountability, sustainability, and other World Bank project action in order to assess external support, and we are collaborating with state government on affordable mass housing. To achieve all these, we will have to keep mobilizing external funding and seek debt relief. We continue to engage with the multilateral and donor agencies to assess additional funding for crisis response. We seek moratorium from official partners for some of the loans that we have and support arrangement to secure commercial debt relief. If the revenue have performed, then we probably will not be seeking this much support from external sources. We know we cannot but keep working at generating more revenue so that the economy can be better for it. And that's just what she had to say. So looking at her statement, you will see that according to her, she claims the government have huge plan for the people of Nigeria, but they do not have the right funding to get those things done. And for that reason, there is just no way they can stop because, number one, the revenue gotten from oil has reduced drastically. So right now, they're dependent on two things, and one is taxes paid by individual, and secondly, they're dependent on borrowing. And guess what? It's getting just out of hand, I can assure you, because most people have spent time to spell out what the effect of this borrowing will be on our economy in the nearest future. Someone did suggest at the point that borrowing from Chinese Exim Bank, which is a Chinese bank, was not a good one because in the nearest future, they may likely be coming for our infrastructure and also to exploit our lands to ensure they have enough to pay for the loan and its interest. With all of this, it means that the future seems to be very bleak. But at this point, what should the government do? That's one of the questions that I want you to answer. And being that these things had happened like this, and unfortunately, the government did not have a pre-plan because for United States of America, they had already a reasonable savings for the country in event of times like this. We've not been paid. No individual in Nigeria, except from very few, have been receiving palliatives, and they're not receiving it monthly. So to say, oh, okay, we expended huge of those amount on, palliatives and all of that. We were not prepared. That's the truth. Our health system was not prepared. And guess what? I think because of that, that's one of the reasons why these guys had to there is no way you guys, in the European Union Commission had to say, there's no way you guys can be coming over to Europe to do business because already they have seen the amount of money given to us as if this issue of COVID-19 in Nigeria is the highest in the world. So people are even very careful of Nigerians coming close. You understand? But the question is, how do we fix this issue? One of the things I believe that had caused us to be in the amount of indecision, let me put it that way, in a state of indecision, is because when we had money, we refused to plan. And this suggestion I'm giving is also to help you. If you're listening to me, it can help you also. It's very bad for one to have just one source of income, especially when you have the privilege of having multiple sources of income. That's the situation we are finding ourselves. Low revenue coming from oil is what is causing all this borrowing. Oil is no more selling because people are not using it for anything. COVID-19 has kind of crippled virtually all activities of people. I'm talking about business activities of people. So there's no way they can buy oil again to do anything. So right now it's becoming overly difficult for anything to happen. So having just one source of income is terrible. The government at this point, I feel it's a lesson for us, but also at this point to remedy this situation is not just by borrowing and by taxation. Let's see how we can look elsewhere. Even amidst this period, look elsewhere and develop an economic blueprint which we can capitalize on and bring in more revenue to Nigeria. Another issue is we need to fix this issue of insecurity so that Nigerians can be comfortable doing business. As much as I know, one of the things that strives well and will keep bringing money to us, especially foreign exchange, is when you allow the people to get involved in agriculture so that we can have enough for ourselves and start exporting it. Most Nigerians will enjoy commercial agriculture, especially in the north. But unfortunately, we do not even have good security plan that can help prevent us from being stuck like this. No, we don't have a good security plan. For example, in the north, they are trying to invest their little in agriculture. They have been stopped by insecurity. Even in the south, most people can't even enter the forest to do anything because Fulani herdsmen are everywhere. Until when we wake up and get this thing corrected, we will keep borrowing. And guess what? A time will come that Nigerian will find itself in a position of virtually no return. Somebody needs to come and colonize us and get us out of our debt. And that wouldn't be interesting. Do we want to be like some of those African countries? I don't want to mention names. Some of those African countries that Chinese have, they have their police force there. They are enjoying their stay and all of that because we refuse to use our brain. And guess what? They will do it victimizing people. Look at, just because of the level of poverty in Nigeria, yesterday or some few days ago, there was a video that was trending everywhere where two Chinese people, husband and wife, kept their mates who are Nigerians. There were almost 7 of them. Kept them, locked down in their houses that they must stay there to be saving them. Not until when those guys, I don't know how they have an escape route and they had to raise alarm for Nigerians to come to their aid. Imagine, just because of the fact that they know we are almost like good for nothing kind of people, and our government is not even helping situation. So we have to start treating you guys like slaves. The government need to wake up and stop this borrowing. Let's begin to think very well. Bring in economists, the economists to help us fix some of these issues that we are finding.